Hello to you listeners of this channel. Emily from Jersey City shared her story with us today. Let's find out what she wants to tell us. Andrew was happy with his life. He had a good job in San Francisco and a house in the country. He loved his wife Emily, and they had been together for 10 years. They had good times and bad times, but always found a way to be happy. One day, Andrew came home early. It was unusual because he always worked too much. When he opened the door, the house was quiet. Emily was usually watching TV or talking on the phone. Andrew went into the kitchen and saw her phone on the counter. There was a message from Chris from college. "You were amazing yesterday. I can't stop thinking about you." Andrew felt bad. What did Chris mean? Was it a joke? But then the second message came. "When will I see you again? I'm waiting." Something hurt in my chest. I felt my heart tighten and my blood rush to my head. I heard a door upstairs. Emily came down, smiling a little. "Are you home?" she asked, taking the elastic out of her hair. I was holding her phone. She knew what I was thinking. Her smile disappeared and her eyes got big. "Where were you yesterday?" I asked in a low, angry voice. She tried to talk, but couldn't. "Where you were." There was silence. In that silence, I heard my world fall apart. Chapter 2, Denial. Emily stood there, staring at her phone. Her face went pale, and her lips moved, but she didn't take the phone away. "Andrew, it's not." I laughed. I laughed bitterly, like I was crazy. "What do you think, Emily? Tell me." She swallowed and looked around the room. "I was with friends." "Then why does Chris say you were great?" She closed her eyes and sighed. "Please, Andrew." He threw the phone and held his head. "You really did it." He wanted her to be angry, but her face was empty. "Why? What is it?" he asked. She sat on a chair. "I didn't want to hurt you." He shook his head. "So just stab me, Emily." "That would be better." She covered her face with her hand. "It just happened." Andrew looked up. "I didn't believe you," he said. She lowered her eyes and he understood. It wasn't just once. Andrew left home and just walked out. The car started, but he didn't know where to go. He drove because he couldn't be in the same room with her. Who was her new boyfriend? He knew that he would ask himself this question forever. He and Emily had been together since they were students. He knew all her friends, and now she chose Chris. Chris. His heart was beating fast. Was he going to make a scene? His feet went to the hotel where Chris was staying. "Good evening. I want Chris' room number. Christopher Brown." The woman at the desk gave him a look. "I'm sorry, we can't tell you that." "Hi." Chris' voice. "Hey, man." Andrew said. No answer. "Who are you?" "The guy whose wife you were with yesterday." A big breath. "Jude? Where are you?" "Andrew, that's not." "Where are you?" Chris stopped talking. Then he whispered, "Let's meet. We need to talk." 4. Chris meets Andrew. Andrew sat at a table in a coffee shop in San Francisco. Wind blew from the ocean. It made trash fly in the air. Chris came 10 minutes late. He went to the table and sat down. Andrew looked at him. He was average. His hair was dark with a little grey. He looked so normal it hurt. "Don't be mad, okay?" Chris rubbed his face. "I didn't mean to do this." Andrew said nothing. Chris stuttered. "It was a mistake. Emily says the same thing." Andrew clenched his teeth. Chris shook his head. "No, you don't understand. It wasn't my fault." Andrew tensed. What are you talking about? Chris sighed and looked at him. She planned it all herself. Andrew froze. What? Chris brushed his hair and rubbed his neck. Do you think I just appeared in her life after all these years? Andrew didn't know what to say. Chris continued. She found me. I wrote to her a few months ago. Chris, it's been a long time. Then she asked to meet. She said she wanted to remember our youth. Andrew leaned forward. Why did you do that? Chris sighed. I didn't want to. But she's good at making people do what she wants. She said we'd become strangers, that I was always working, that she felt lonely. Andrew felt something inside him tighten. Are you saying that she set this up on purpose? Chris nodded. I think so. Andrew's heart started beating faster. Why? Chris looked at him. You should ask her. Chapter 6. The Secret File. Andrew came home late at night. Emily was awake. Where have you been? Her voice was upset. He closed the door slowly. I met Chris. Her face didn't change. What did he say? That you found it by yourself? She stared at him for a while. Yes. Andrew felt angry. Was this part of your plan? Emily shrugged. I wanted to see how you would react. He felt cold. What? She came closer and crossed her arms. You weren't interested in me for a long time. Did you think our marriage was real? It was an experiment for me. I've always wondered what happens if you make a perfect relationship and break it. Andrew felt dizzy. You don't love me, she smiled. Love? You are serious. Love is an emotion, and emotions can be controlled. He took a step back. You're crazy. Emily tilted her head. Maybe, but you choose me, right? Her words hit him hard. What do you want to prove with this? She looked him in the eye. That people are predictable. Andrew couldn't believe what happened. Are you saying this was just a game? Emily smiled. Wasn't it fun? At that moment, he realized he didn't know her. Chapter 7. Getting out of the cage, Andrew stood at the door. His fingers were shaking. Emily continued to look at him. What now? She asked. He looked at her. You're dead to me. He took the keys and left. He thought love was what connects people. But now he knows it's not true. Some people just like watching things fall apart. 3 months later, Andrew moved to New York and changed his job. He made new friends, and Emily tried to call him, but he didn't answer. Now he knows what freedom is. He survived. That's all. Thanks to Emily for such an exciting story. Let's hope that everything will work out in her life. If you have something to share, send it by email. We will all be happy to live these stages of life with you. Subscribe to the channel, like it and follow the feed. There's a new story here every day.